Hello, boys and girls. It's Aunty Mimmi here. Today I've got another storybook for you. Our book today is called Snow White. So sit back, get comfortable, and let's begin. Once upon a time, there lived a princess called Snow White, who had skin as white as snow. The kind queen had died, and now Snow White had a wicked stepmother who was jealous of her beauty. Her stepmother had a magic mirror, and every day she asked it the same question. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of all? Truthfully, it always replied that she was the fairest. But Snow White grew to be very beautiful too, and one day the mirror told the queen that Snow White was the fairest in the land. Her stepmother was furious and sent Snow White into the woods with a huntsman, telling him to kill her. But the huntsman took pity on her and let her run away deep into the forest. At last she came to a house. She opened the door and went in. There was no one home. At a little table, 7 places were laid, and 7 little beds were by the wall. When the masters of the house, 7 little dwarfs, came home, they were amazed to find Snow White asleep. When she awoke, they begged her to stay, and she agreed. Meanwhile, the mirror had told Her Majesty that Snow White was still alive, and dressed in disguise, the angry woman had set out to find her. She arrived at the house dressed as a peddler, and persuaded Snow White to buy some laces for her dress. But the wicked stepmother pulled the laces so tight that Snow White fell as if dead to the floor. When the 7 dwarfs came home, they were very upset, but as they untied her laces, Snow White came back to life. It was not long before the mirror told the queen that she was on her way to the house once more, this time disguised as a peasant. She persuaded Snow White to take a bite of a poisoned apple. Snow White fell down dead to the floor, and the 7 dwarfs found her when they returned. They cried buckets of tears, but they could not wake her. They laid her in a glass coffin on the hill behind their house. One day a prince came riding by and fell in love as soon as he saw her. He persuaded the 7 dwarfs to let him take her coffin, but he slipped and fell, jolting the apple from her throat. Snow White awoke and fell in love at once. Soon they married and lived happily ever after. Well, that was a fun little book, wasn't it, boys and girls? And a little bit silly as well. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And as always, I want you to be kind to one another, look after one another, and try and have some fun every single day. Until next time, bye-bye.